Good evening, YouTube. We're going to try something we've never tried before, and that's chicken fried steak with an asterisk. The asterisk being, number one, some of the best chicken fried steaks we've ever had weren't steak. They were actually pork. So we've taken some pork loins and gone and flattened them out like you would for a chicken fried steak and tenderized them. And we're going to use that for our meat. So it's going to be chicken fried pork chops, I guess. And the other asterisk is I'm going to do something I've never done, is I'm actually going to go and do these on the flat top grill. This is something I've never tried. I've seen some YouTube videos on it, and I figured I'd give it a shot. So this is our first try at chicken fried steak on the flat top grill on a griddle. So come along with us as we try to figure out how to do this. Now, first of all, we've got a teaspoon of baking soda, or actually, yeah, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and we've got 1 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to have 1.5 cups of buttermilk, an egg, and then 2 tablespoons, or actually 1 tablespoon, because my wife didn't want this to be too hot, but 1 tablespoon of hot pepper sauce, like Tabasco or your favorite hot sauce. And 2 cloves of garlic is what the recipe called for, so I decided to put in a teaspoon of this minced garlic my wife has in a squirt bottle, and we're going to try that. The other thing too is we're using a slightly different kind of flour. This is from HEB. This is frying flour. This is flour specifically for frying, like chicken and chicken fried steaks and stuff like that. So let's get to work here. I've got several things to mix up, and it has a certain way that they want you to mix this up. They want you to take the baking powder and the baking soda and your white pepper. Of course, they call for black pepper. I always use white pepper because my wife is semi-allergic to black pepper. And then we got our tablespoon or teaspoon of salt here. And we've got the hot sauce. And then we've got our garlic. Now, we're going to break this egg in here. There we go. That was good. And now we're going to mix that up. Let me find a little spatula or spoon here. I like this spatula. Gonna bust up that egg yolk. Gonna go and mix all this stuff together. Got that hot sauce and the chemicals working. And now we need 1.5 cups of buttermilk. So there's my buttermilk. And we want 1.5 cups. I'm going to shake that up a little bit. There's 1.5 cups of buttermilk. Now the chemical reaction of all this stuff is making it bubble and fizz. We want to keep stirring it until it's in a homogeneous mixture. All of that stuff is dissolved, and it's all a uniform color. This right here, with the buttermilk and the hot sauce and everything, as well as the garlic, gonna make this really, really taste good. This is funny. It's foaming. It's actually foaming. That's interesting. I don't know if you can see that real well, but it's got froth and it's bubbling. Check this out. It's actually bubbling in the pan. Interesting. Never seen my batter do that before. Now the recipe says we need, what was it? 2 cups of flour. Again, this is the HEB seasoned frying flour, specifically made for frying. Here's 1 cup. I told my wife I wasn't going to make a mess in the kitchen tonight. Looks like I lied. And there's 2. There's 2 cups of flour. Now, earlier, I went and took all of this pork that we had just gone and thawed and beat it with a hammer into submission, and came up with some really nice looking pieces here, and I'll show you what they look like. These are the pieces of pork that we're going to do. These were little slices of pork loin like we do with boneless pork chops here at home. And you'll notice I went ahead and left the fat on them because I'm not deep fat frying these. If you put this in a vat full of fat, or like a fryer, this right here would pop and snap and crackle, and it would send grease everywhere. But since we're doing this on the flat top, I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. Anyway, we take these pieces of pork, and then we carefully, look at that, I made a mess. Carefully, you know what, I probably ought to use tongs for this. For this, you need something with a serrated metal edge to it to keep a hold of them. You put it in the flour first, and you push it down in there and tamp it down real good. Then you kind of shake off the excess, and then you put it in your butter or your egg mixture, the foaming egg mixture. Get it all wet. Then we're going to go back into here again. Make sure it's got an even coating on it and there's no real wet spots to it. and you lay it back on your rack. Drop it down in there, get it nice and flat, get a little bit of burying action there going on. Make sure that you got an even dry coat on the whole thing before you go carefully dredge it over into here. Make sure it's all wet, and it's still foaming. As we speak, it's still foaming. One more time into the flour. Make sure there's no wet spots left on it. Here we go. Another piece in. There we go. That's the last one. Lay it out on my sheet here. Move these out of my way. Now, this half sheet pan has got a cookie cooling rack so that it's not laying directly on the sheet pan. And I'm going to set these down and I'm going to let them sit out at room temperature for about 15 to 20 minutes and let all of this stuff set. Once it sets, it doesn't want to come unglued from the meat when you're cooking. If you skip this step, all of this crust will just fall right off of the meat. So, let's go let this sit for a bit and go fire up the flat top grill and get it heating. And since we're going to do French fries, might as well get the fryer going too. So we'll be back in just a minute. I'm out here at the griddle and we've got the fryer going and it's coming up to temperature, and I went and cleaned this off and made it all nice and clean so we can cook on it. And it's heating up and it's at about 260. 275 on one side. Let's crank this up just a little more. And we'll have to wait a little while for these to come up to temperature. Won't be long. We're back and we're sitting at 354 and 360, so we're ready to cook, and the oil is up to temperature so we can do the fries. Now I'm told it takes a lot of vegetable oil to do this, so we'll see how much it takes. There we go, about a half of my bottle. We'll see how that goes. Spread it around. This time I'm just going to use plain old vegetable oil because they didn't make a big deal about what kind of oil to use. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in the fries, because the fries actually take a little longer. There we go. Now we're going to lay our meat down. Nice sizzle. There we go. And they say about 4 minutes per side. Looks like I'd need just a little bit more oil. Set my handy dandy timer here, and we'll see how long this goes. Got to shutzle the fries around a little bit so they don't stick together. And usually when the fries float, they're pretty much done, but we like French fries a little more well done, like crispy and actually brown. So these will take close to 10 minutes. We're 30 seconds in. Whoa. Hot grease. Boy, that was 30 seconds. Look at that. Nice and brown. A little more brown than I like on one of them. Maybe turn them down to low. Okay, yeah, it's frying. It's doing its thing. Yeah, maybe 350 is a little high. I'm turning them because the hot side is towards the middle. That's where it's getting a little more brown. That's 3 minutes, 35 seconds so far. Okay, that's the 4-minute mark. I've heard of people using a pair of tongs for this. I don't want to break the crust. If I break the crust, then yeah, game over. Just a little bit more oil because things are looking a little dry. I just tasted a piece of that crust and it tastes pretty good. Yeah, that's getting more brown than I want it. Yeah, that's a lot more brown. Okay, 1 out of the 5 is awfully brown. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the burners off because we got enough heat to finish everything off as it is. This side's still on, this side is off. We're at the 6-minute and 52-second mark. Some of these are looking awful brown. Probably need to use a little less heat. Like I said, this is the first time I've done this. So this is an experiment. Get a little bit of that crust back there. We're going to go ahead and turn the fire off. The fire is off. Now, to clean one of these things, you use hot water. But right now is the worst time to go and throw some hot water on that thing, because that grease will flare up, kick back at you. And you might have seen Spike, my quality control supervisor. Come here, Spike. I think Spike wants some chicken fried steak. What do you think? You want some chicken fried steak, buddy? Yeah, it's a hot grill, isn't it? Yeah, he doesn't like that hot grill for some reason. Smart cat. Meow. And here comes Portia. Yeah, those French fries are almost done. They're golden brown, but they're not golden brown enough. So let me take the chicken fried steaks inside and let them sit, cool for just a minute. I'm back. French fries are still not quite ready. Got a couple minutes. I'm back. Looks like the French fries are pretty much ready. Whew. Fogged up my glasses, it's so hot. Yeah, that looks right. We use popcorn salt on the French fries because it's a super fine mill. It's like baby powder almost. That right there is what fries ought to look like according to Mrs. P. Golden brown and crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. Unplug it. And a fine dusting, and I do mean just a fine dusting. And there we go. Let's go eat. Well, this is tonight's dinner. Chicken fried pork and French fries with cream gravy. Thanks for hanging out with us, coming along with us as we tried something new. Hopefully this is going to be awesome. The best compliment a cook can have is a silent dinner table because everybody's too busy stuffing their face. Thanks for coming out. Come back and see us.
Wait.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, Dad bumbled. I didn't know if he wanted to do a second run at it.
Take 3.
Take 316.
Yeah. 2 of them ended up being a little bit burned, but 3 of them turned out pretty good.
Well, I can have a more burnt one. That's that burnt one.
Well, it's after dinner, and dinner was evidently a success. After a couple of minutes of discussing what it was we were eating, the whole rest of dinner, everybody was quiet and just shoveling food into their face. So evidently, it turned out rather well. Our only complaint was the 1 tablespoon of hot sauce seemed to be just a little much. So next time, I think I'll half that. This is one of my favorite parts. Now that dinner's over with, I gotta clean the grill. And that's a hot grill. Go take some paper towels, wipe up all of that nastiness. Into the trash can. And now we're done. Well, that was a long, hard day of work. Between doing stuff outside, doing stuff inside, cleaning up, vacuuming, getting ready for relatives to come over. Chicken fried steak, French fries was a good capper to that for a long day. A little bit of 46-year-old bourbon, 86 degrees with 92% humidity out here, and the Saharan dust has just decided to come to the United States. You may see a little bit of color in this glass. That's almost the color of the air that's out here. If you look to the south, you can see all the Saharan dust in the air. You can actually taste it in your mouth too. Yuck. But oh well. Chicken fried steak was good. I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my bourbon and watch the cats play around at sunset. I may even go down and feed some fish this evening. Again, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate your comments when you make the effort to comment, even if it's just to say hey. And hit the like button. For some reason, the way YouTube works, the more likes my video gets, the more often I show up in that evil little suggested video pane over on the right-hand side. The more viewers I get, the happier Mrs. P gets. So hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get a notification every time I go and post something stupid like this, or something good like this. Anyway, I'm gonna relax and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thanks for coming around and hanging out. Come back and see us.